Here you go, guys. Here's the frame for the base for the table. And in case you're wondering why that bolt is in there and that hole is in the top, it'll become apparent, I promise you. And I'm going to go ahead and laminate the sides with walnut also. And then I'll get back with you. Here we go, guys. The beginning of the base for the table. All coated with walnut. Now we got a lot more walnut to put on there. Gotta let this dry, guys. You can never have too many clamps. Y'all may have heard someone say you can never have too many clamps, right? There it goes. Let's see. Can y'all see out there in the middle? If you want to get a clamp point where a clamp won't reach, do a springboard trick. Shim it up on both ends and then push down as far as you can reach in the middle, and you'll put the same amount of pressure the clamp is putting here. I'm putting out in the center right here. Sorry, camera's crooked. Here goes the, third clamp up, I think. Maybe the fourth. You lose count after a while. And the fifth clamp up, I think. Hey guys, when you're doing a glue up and you want to stack multiple pieces, which I'm going to do, 1, 2, 3, and then glue them all at once to help keep wood from sliding around, and it's not that important in what I'm doing here, but a little bit of table salt. Gonna keep the wood from sliding around as much when I'm gluing it up. Not letting it slide. That's the purpose of it. It'll just crush right into the wood. Okay guys, I've lost count on my glue ups here, but got the bottoms furred out. Now I've got to fur out the tops, so when I unclamp it, I'm going to stack some more walnut on here, and then I'm going to stack on the front. And it will become apparent why sometime this year. Alright, glue up number glue up, I don't know if y'all been keeping count. Next glue up, let's call it that. Here's a little trick for y'all if y'all didn't know. If you want to push a clamp against a mitered angle on both sides, what I've done is I've just wedged the block sitting on top of that one where it leans up here. Then I can lock the clamp between it, like you see right here, and get my pressure on it. And I'm not worried about the little indentions I'm making. If you can tell the arch and the clamps, I can show you all this. And you really can't see it that well. But I've got these things tighter than they're made to be. I've actually broke one before putting it too tight. But anyway, how can you put a clamp against a 45-degree angle? Lean a board up against it, lock the clamp up on the crack. It works. Here you go. I think you can see the arch and the clamp in that one. A lot of pressure on those suckers. Here you go, guys. You can see it a little clearer here. Here's the lower block that I glued on before. And if I hadn't, and I was just trying to glue... if I was just trying to put some clamp pressure on this miter, I could just lean a board up there and clamp it on or something. Then put another one on an angle, like this one right here. It looks weird looking at it through the camera, let me tell you. And then by putting the clamp in the crack, I'm putting all the pressure I need on the bottom of this miter. Therefore, clamping on an angle. Truly lost count, guys. Next glue up. 2 more to go, I think. Clamp up number 27. I think. Here we go, guys. The last glue up. Hallelujah. There we go, guys. All unclamped and ready for lacquer. Nah, I'm just kidding. Now it's time for the carving. Hey my friends, how is everybody? I sure hope y'all enjoyed those videos on my peacock table. It's called Peacock Perching on a Log. The base is meant to simulate the rough cut off of a tree or the stump of a tree. Is that what you call a stump? Yeah, that's what you call a stump. Yeah. Couple of things. Some of you asked about the size of the resin pouring, if it would heat like that, heat up with that large of a pour in the resin. And yes and no. If that was all done in one piece, and which it is, and I'll explain, but if it was done in one solid piece and poured all at once, yes, you'd have a massive heat up problem. But if you'll notice, each little individual row of feathers with the walnut between it was its own separate pour. So although it was poured all at once, kinda, it was poured in layers all at once. So there weren't that large sections of resin. Of course, I couldn't get it in a pressure pot, but if anybody could find a way, it'll be me. And I poured it in layers. So no, I had no problems with heat up at all. Simply working it with the torch did the trick. I was kind of disappointed the real feathers didn't work out, but quite honestly, like a lot of things real and simulated, the simulated ones were a lot more uniform, a lot more colorful, and when it was all said and done, made a much better looking project. Yes, I tried several ways to test the feathers. I think I mentioned I only did one, but I sprayed one with lacquer, the real feathers I'm talking about. I sprayed one with urethane, and I coated one with resin. And I did one with tung oil also. I forgot about that. The one with the tung oil actually wind up looking the best and not changing the color as much, but I was concerned with the oil getting into the resin, because if you've ever used tung oil, you've got to put it on this year, and then next year it's dry. So if you've worked with tung oil, you know what I'm talking about. It takes a long time to dry. So all said and done, the simulated feathers turned out to make a much better project. And again, I got those from Hobby Lobby. Believe it or not, they don't stock what's 27 times 3, a heck of a lot. 81 different feathers in one store, so I had to go to multiple stores to get enough of those simulated feathers. And this project took about 4 months to do. I've got roughly, I would say, about 45 to 50 work hours in it, maybe a little more. I didn't keep track, I'm just estimating. The base of the table weighs right at 45 to 47 pounds. I weighed it. I had showed y'all in part 3, I think it was, where I mounted a bolt into the base, put a bend on the bottom of it. I took some 3/8 all thread, bent it on the bottom, and then put it into the base before I closed it up, and I drilled a hole in the top of it. The reason I did that, the feathers bolt down to the base and get glued. The resin tabletop, the feathers, get bolted down to the base and glued, and then the peacock sits on top of that and covers up the bolt hole. The reason I drilled the hole in it was I've got 50 pounds of resin sitting there, spread out about 4 feet wide, and I wanted to make the base heavier, but I did not want to do it while I was working on it. So I left the hole in it and put the bend in that bolt. When I set it up in place at the house and bolt it together, I'm going to fill the inside of the base with plaster Paris, which is going to add a lot of weight to the base and, of course, fill in around that bolt, making that bolt secure. So that's the reason for that. I told y'all it would become apparent, but it wouldn't become apparent unless I showed you me bolting it together in my house. I won't be selling that or putting it up for sale. My wife wants to keep it, and she comes first, so she's going to get it. It's going to go upstairs in the game room between a couple of sofas, I think, is where it's going to wind up. And I promise y'all I'll put a picture of it when it's finished on one of the next videos. The other thing I wanted to talk about real quick is several of you pointed out in part 2 that I had chiseled the feathers upside down with the arches for the feathers, the simulated feathers in the bird carving running the wrong direction. that they should be running like a fish scale. And if they were simulating the feathers, you're right, they would be running the wrong way. But I think I told y'all in one of the part 1 or part 2 that I looked at a lot of peacocks. And again, no, I didn't go chasing them in the field. I searched them on the internet. And when you look at the clusters of the feathers folded up on a peacock, the overall appearance with the color in the feathers is an arch facing to the top. Kind of reverse of the way the feather's sitting. So that's the reason I went ahead and did the feather laying that way with the chisel or the carving tool or whatever you want to call it. So I hope that explains that. Again, breaking the head multiple times. When I broke it, I could have put a dowel in where I broke it. I didn't think about that the first time. I thought about it the third time actually. And but you'd be surprised how strong it is by breaking it and finding every spot in the wood. And when I was breaking it, I hadn't finished the final carving, and I used resin glue, which is it's a brown glue. It's a powder and water mixture glue. Has a very, very long open time, 40 minutes to an hour, depending on which brand you use, and it hides its seam very well. And with resin glue, you won't get any glue lines. If you've ever looked at something you've glued up many, many years later and felt the seam or where you glued it, you'll be able to feel the glue. I can't tell you why, but the glue will expand or rise or whatever it does, but you can feel the glue lines with yellow glue or white glue or hide glue. With resin glue, you get no glue lines. Now, if you do use resin glue, it's sold in a bucket. You mix it with water. There is one important thing to remember about resin glue, guys, and this is real serious. Put on a mask, put on another mask, put on a chemical suit, turn the fan on, and face away from the powder. I'm over-exaggerating and being silly, but what I'm trying to say is you do not want to breathe in that resin dust by any means. It is not good for you, okay? Make sure you wear a mask, a good mask, quality, not some little surgeon mask like we're wearing for this coronavirus thing. A filtered, good-fitting mask if you're going to use resin glue. And I'm sorry, I'm rambling and rambling on again. So anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed that. In part 2, you might have saw that I was pouring some little pieces made out of some leftover resin that I had. Where'd it go? Here it is. Like this little foot. Okay? Can you see that? It's just some scrap resin, and I did the foot in the course of this project. I also did some little leaves. They got some nice detail in them. You probably can't see it, but I'm trying. And I also did some little hearts. Okay, tiny little bitty hearts. Okay, did a multitude of them while I was doing this. Feet, bag of hearts, and I'm going to use them for inlay projects on some bowls that I'm turning. What I made those with was some silicone molds. They're pre-made. I didn't have to make them. What it would cost me to buy this resin and make this mold. What these actually are, here's the foot, here's the little leaf, here's the one for the hearts. All right. These are made of resin. They're sold at Hobby Lobby, and they're sold in the candy department. They're candy molds, and they have hundreds. Everything you can imagine, for molding candy, for making wedding cakes, and so on. And they're dirt cheap. You don't have to buy the resin. You don't have to mix it up. I mean, it's just plain old great if you want to make little resin castings for jewelry. What do you call it? Surface lay designs, inlays into a pour. They work wonderful. So guys, I know I talk a lot, and I'll try not to. I really do. But I sure hope y'all liked my little table. I had a lot of fun making it. I think it turned out okay. Resin also, as far as the tabletop goes, let's talk about that for a minute. Resin will scratch very easy. It will scratch easier than plastic. It doesn't make a very good tabletop. I know you see a lot of river poured tables and things like that, but believe me, those things, you see them when they're finished made. After a while, that stuff gets really, really scratched up. Hold on a second, guys. Sorry, I wasn't going to kill that for that. I'm going to have a glass top made for it, a piece of 3/8 inch glass with a beveled edge to sit on it at the house to keep it from getting scratched up, because resin tops like that will get scratched very easy. So guys, I hope it was informative. I hope y'all liked it. I had tons of fun making it. I've got several other projects going on. Gonna be putting out some more videos. Do me a big favor, guys. I don't do this for the money by any means. The nickels and dimes you make from an ad on YouTube, it's not for the money, believe me, by any means. I love doing the work. I've found that I enjoy making the videos and putting them out. I know I'm not the greatest at it. I know I do the wiggly camera thing, but I'm trying to do my best. I really am. But anyway, what I'm getting at is, if you're watching the video and you like it, please hit the like. If you want to see a couple of more and you enjoy it, please subscribe. If you hate me and you don't like the videos, man, make sure you definitely subscribe. That way you can dislike them all and you won't miss any, okay? I'm sorry, guys. I love having fun with you. I really do. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate you all, my friends. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'll see you on the next one here in a little bit. Or do like me. Let's just watch it again. See you now.